Alright, Street City family, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm John. Tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a multimedia artist. I dabble in lots of things from drawing with pencils and pens and crayons and painting. I sculpt. I do I do 3D sculpting with 3D modeling. 3D scanning, and a lot of photography. I've been trying to practice more photo editing lately. And basically that's what we're going to do here today is play with a couple photos I took on vacation. Me and my family, we just got back from vacation this weekend, and it was a much needed family reunion up north with my brothers and sister and dad. I haven't seen in a good decade. They live a good over 200 miles away, so it's quite a trip. You know, we stay in touch the best we can, but they live very far out in the country, up northern Michigan, and it's real nice up there. And so I got a couple photos from the trip here, and I'm gonna play with them a little bit. Right, I already started, and we'll go look at those. We'll look at a couple of these. Right here we've got Betsy Point Lighthouse, or Point Betsy Lighthouse, which we used to always go up and watch the fireworks on 4th of July. And so that was the idea this this year, but we did not watch the fireworks at this site because when we were younger it was much easier to get in there, but as the years have gone by, it's gotten a lot busier. It's much more happening place these days, and so we went to a different firework display at Crystal Lake instead of Lake Michigan. But we wanted to get up there and take a look around while they weren't doing the fireworks anyways. And so we like to walk. Oh, that's too far maybe. Let's see, 1-to-1. We like to walk out on this breakwater here. Take a walk all the way to the end. But I'll show you the original photo here. You can see a side by side. I definitely pulled out some of the blues and greens. And I was practicing split toning, if you know what that is. We might take a look at some of that while we go here. But here's a slightly better shot of the lighthouse. Got a nice shot of a family out here walking. I was really surprised how clear that is. I have no idea who the people are, but couldn't really wait for everybody to clear out. We tried to take a look, but there's people up there the whole time. Like I said, it's a little more happening than it used to be when I was young. But even out here, look, you can see that boat way out in the distance. Man, that's so cool. But I'll show you the unedited version as well. Do a little side by side there. But just like the other one, to really pull out the blues, you know. But those are the only ones I really edited. This one's on the fill. What did I do to this one? It says I did something. That's what that little plus and minus down here says. I did something. Oh, yep. Okay. I dropped the greens. Blue. There we go. I was playing with the colors. I thought I had reset everything. But, I mean, that's the idea. We'll take a look at some of these pictures. We'll go back over here real quick. This is a different angle from the same spot as the lighthouse picture, right? It's just I turned to my left over here. And this is the view of Sleeping Bear Dunes there. And it's really gorgeous, but there's a lot lost in this picture. You can't quite see as much as I was hoping. But that was one of the things, that's why we're looking at it, right? I'm going to come in here and maybe try and darken it up. Bring out some of these details. Alright, so I'm going to bring up the contrast a little bit. Bring down the exposure a little bit. Let's go up with the highlights. White, just a tiny bit. Now see, sometimes people, well, me, sometimes I want to bring down the darkness to bring out those details, but sometimes you gotta see, do you want to bring down the shadows, do you want to bring down the blacks, and you gotta play with it, right? See, I want to bring it down, but I don't want some of this noise going on in the water. It looks nice, but some of it just feels too much. Alright, so you gotta find a sweet spot. We'll move on to clarity, vibrance, and saturation. Right? And clarity's another one, right? Just like sharpening and stuff. Some people like to go all the way up. And you see, it starts to make the water just look like static, like noise. You don't want to just wash it out with too much. But a little bit might do it, right? Because you go down, it gets real blurry, and it kind of makes these trees look cool, right? But that's it. Everything else is lost. So, somewhere where the water doesn't start getting dark, but it does affect this mountain or hill range, the sand dunes here, and the trees here. So there's a fine line trying to pull out those details without overdoing it in here. The vibrance is the same thing, right? Just like saturation. You can bring those colors up to make them pop, but if you go too far, it doesn't look so natural, right? Maybe we'll go somewhere there. That might even be too much, but something I can do is bring the saturation down to counter it. Just a tiny bit there, right? Now, these are some interesting tools to play with in here, especially luminance, right? Because we'll go to blue. Let's go to blue, and we'll turn the luminance down. And look what that does. turn it up and look what that does. So you can probably tell already I'm thinking to use that to really give some depth to those clouds and the hills. But I don't want to overdo it. Let's go back up here to saturation and hue. Thinking about playing with this blue. Shift it. We use aqua. I'm trying to get it more blue, not more purple, right? So my first thought was to grab the blue slider and shift it, but that shifts it into purple. I'm gonna grab the aqua and shift that into blue, so that all of these green tints start to become more blue tints. Right? Where's aqua? There we go. See? It'll drop that out and you can see kind of what the difference is there. Just gets rid of all that green. And even if I wanted to, I could set it back. Let's set it back real quick. And I can show you here, take the saturation out from the green or turn it up. Oh, it's not even doing it. Aqua. Let's do the aqua. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that might help. Let's turn the saturation up and then slide it to blue. Yeah. Let's try this one too. Yeah, that's a little darkness in the clouds. See? A little bit on the water too. Now this one right here, turn off color adjustment. We can turn all those settings in that gray square off so we can compare. Right? That's what it looked like without our adjustments. In that category, in the HSL category, hue, saturation, and luminance. Turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. Alright, now I don't love some of this noise in the sky and stuff, but I do prefer everything else basically. Right? Maybe the brightness, some of that stuff could be adjusted a little bit. Now, split toning is very interesting, and I've been trying to play with it a lot more as I kind of start to understand the visual changes. I want to play with it more the more I understand it. But as I do play with it, I find that I only have good results sometimes. It's not necessary for every photo, and especially like this one, I wasn't really enjoying the green in the sky and stuff, or the aqua green in the sky. So if you don't want a clean two tones in your picture, right, there might be one tone like this. We're leaning into the blue, right, with just a little bit of variety, right? You got some whites and some tans down here, and even some variety in your blues. But even if we split tone, right, we're going to change that. See, we'll play with it. Let's see. All right, the shadows, we can add some color to the shadows, and we can add some color to the highlights, and then control what color that is, right? If we want to lean into the blues, we'll let's get back to the blues here. And you can really start to see. We'll go darker and lighter in the shadows. And now you can play with the balance once you set it. You can play with the balance in between them. Now I got them jacked way high just so I could see the difference. But once you get them set somewhere you like, you can shift back and forth a little bit and see what you like. Right, but this picture I don't think necessarily lends to split toning very well. I'm trying to think. Yeah, this one. This one I did some split toning on, right? And you can see, let me turn it off. And you can see what it did, right? I went very blue with the highlights and very green with the shadows, right? Just to bring some of this green down here out. And maybe even add some kind of green tones around the shadows, right? Just to bring it up that much more. See? And so this one lends well to the split toning, right? I think, but this one probably not so much. Maybe if I had treated it differently. Let's see, turn this off. Let's try and add a yellow maybe to the shadows and then a blue to the highlights. How about that? Maybe an orange even. Yeah. And I'll go towards the blue. Let's turn that blue up. There. Somewhere like that's not bad. But I don't know that it's much better than the original. Right? That's maybe a matter of preference, but I don't know that it's a lot better at all. But, you know, just to demonstrate what you can achieve with it, I suppose. Maybe even go redder. Bring it down. That's too much for me. But that's what I was saying. This one doesn't lend to the split toning as well. Alright, but we'll hit the sharpening. Let's do some sharpening. We'll go all the way up and see what it does. It doesn't seem to have done a lot. Let's do the masking. Yeah, that didn't do anything noticeable for me. Now the noise reduction should do a little bit. Yeah. See, it washed out that water, and I was hoping we would get to something that would wash out some of this noise here. Keep that all the way up and bring the detail down a little bit. Contrast. See, I'm still seeing a lot of noise in there that I don't want. I don't want some of the speckling noise in the clouds. But I also don't want to overly smooth the picture out. Right? Lose too much. Yeah, I like that. I think that was too much. Start losing the whole beach there, see? It did smooth out all of this. this. And those clouds look a lot better. See if we can turn the detail up. That might be a lot better. With the detail all the way up. Let's turn that down, see. Yeah, I don't think I lose much on the beach. Just in color. Washes the color out. Turn this down maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, the clouds look a lot smoother, and the sand is not so washed out. I can accept that. Now I always hit remove chromatic abrasion, but I don't think this one had any issues with that necessarily. Okay, post-crop vignetting. I don't use a lot, but I've been trying to find excuses to use it, right? And I find the subtle uses are always really best, right? Because look at that. That brings some depth. It makes it look a little deeper. Turn it off. Looks a little flatter, right? So if you can find subtle ways to work it in, it's a lot better than, in my opinion, something harsh like this, right? Or this. But something real subtle to just kind of bring your focus towards the center. Something soft. Look at that. Let's bring it down just a little more. There we go. And grain, just like post-crop vignetting and some of these other options, it's really a matter of opinion or preference, what you're trying to achieve. I don't use it much. I'm trying to achieve smoothness, right? And I think that's probably a lot of photographers. They're trying to get real smooth looking buttery pictures, but some people have uses for it. I'm not trying to knock it. It's there. Right. Now, like I had mentioned earlier, this is still a little dark for me, so I had turned that exposure down. Let's bring it back up. Maybe that wasn't the best idea. We can even find other ways, right? If I do want to bring it down a tad bit, I can come down here to the whites and the highlights and bump those up a little more even, right? Look at that. That is looking a lot better, I think. I almost want to bring these teal or aquas back in and see what those look like. Yeah, if it weren't for this spot right here, I do like it down here and even a little bit up here, but right here I don't like it. Let me see. We'll bring the slider back a bit and see if we can find a middle ground. Right back to 0, I suppose, but that's still pretty prominent looking for me. Let's bring the aqua saturation back down. And we're right back where we started. Yeah, but it's still catching my eye. It looks weird. Everything else looks pretty natural. But this one spot just looks too bright. Oh, that's a little better. That didn't do it. Anything. That might be it. That's faded a little. That looks a little better. Let's look at the original. Do a little side by side. Oh man, look at the difference. Yep. That's why I'm doing it. That's perfect right there. We can move on to some of these other pictures and take a look. Right? Here is us at the beach, about to walk out on that breakwater. This is a great picture. I don't know that I want to do a lot of heavy editing on this one. This one's pretty nice. I just kind of wanted to bring it in. Right? Here we got the lighthouse itself. And you can see, I really like this thing. I like going out and looking at it. The old lighthouse. And just like I said earlier, you'll see here, there's some folks out on the lighthouse here. It's hard to find a moment where there weren't people, but can't see their faces. Can't see too much. Just some people there. But I really do like this one. Let's find a better. Let's crop it, maybe. Seems a shame to get rid of so much beautiful water and sand over there, but let's make it a little more manageable, fit, and viewable. It really does have all the weathering and so much character. Let's see. No, okay. So my first thoughts are there's a lot of white in the sky, and the white on the White House, the white lighthouse. And I usually look at my histogram over here, and I almost expected it to be off the charts on the white, but it's not. So the exposure's good. I don't want to like pull the exposure down too much, right? Or bump it up too much. Those whites are good whites. They're not over blown out, overexposed. But I can turn this contrast up a bit and get some more. See? Yeah, that's nice. Make everything pop just a little bit. And see, this is one of the things, because there's so much white in here, right? I really can bring the highlights down, and it doesn't feel like I've lost a lot, right? If anything, I've gained some textures in the clouds and stuff. And like I was saying before, your first thought on shadows might be to darken everything, right? But you can always go up and brighten stuff, right? Take some of them shadows out, right? If you start finding that it's looking too dark, maybe it's the shadows. Right? Now see, I've brought the highlights down to bring out some of those details, right, in the lighthouse skin, in the clouds, and then brought the whites back up to brighten it. Kind of make it look like even back to where the lighting was. See? Or even a little better even. Alright, let's go. Clarity. Just like I said before, I usually don't want to go all the way up with that. Just a little nudge maybe. Right. And some of this I don't like how dark it's making some of these hills. Right. But I do want a little bit vibrance. Oh yeah, that's nice. I'll probably leave it right about there. Honestly, I'm not sure I'm gonna do much more. I kind of like that a lot. Hit that sharpen a little bit, maybe. Let's go. I could do some split toning. We do have some blue versus yellow going on here. Right? But I kind of like the tones that's going on already. But I could, let's go with some yellows, some orange, some blue. Well, it does. Yeah, I might do it. Look, it kind of re-whitened the lighthouse. Because I got kind of yellowed in the process, or it probably is yellowed. But I think I like that better. It looks a little cleaner, a little sharper. I might leave it right there. I'm glad I played with it, see? So we'll go with sharpening. I don't even know that it did much, did it? Oh yeah, look at that. Masking. Let's see what it did. Masking, it seems to. There we go. Let's see. Yeah. Let's go turn the detail up too. There we go. Yeah, that makes a big difference. I'm going to do that right about there. Noise reduction, let's see. And this one, it doesn't have a lot of noise that I don't want. It's just kind of back here, right? Some of this noise in the water that doesn't quite look like sharp waves. Right. The clouds themselves look pretty smooth. I don't see any speckling or anything. Even this little wispy cloud is pretty clear. Right. So I might do a little bit of noise reduction, but I don't really think it's super necessary here. Yeah, we'll leave it right there. I'm not sure that's even doing a lot. Let's look. Remove chromatic abrasion. Now, do I want to do a vignetting for this one? Like I said, sometimes it really highlights stuff nicely. Right? But you don't want to go the wrong way. So I like to take a look at both sometimes, right? Do I want to do the white vignetting or the dark vignetting? But I'm telling you, I prefer a subtle vignetting if I'm going to use it. I don't want something like this necessarily. Right? If you're fitting it to a specific frame and you want it blended into that frame, maybe some sort of theme, but just for across the board general purposes, I don't like to aim for something like that, right? Let the frame itself do the cropping, right? Bordering. But some real subtle vignetting, I think, can have a very dramatic effect on a picture. Right? Like this right here. Look. I'll leave it right there and turn it off. Alright. And it really frames your vision. It just centers your vision right on that lighthouse. And you can't even really tell it's there. Right? I like that. I like that a lot. Let's do a side by side. Or on top of each other even. Whatever. Here we go. Look at that difference. I love this one. I'm going to save this one. I got some other pictures here. We saw a lot of rabbits on our trip. Got a couple good pictures of them. I don't know that I want to do a lot of heavy editing on these, but I might play with them just to see what I can do. Right, I kind of want to just crop this one in. Let's see. So I can get that tire out. Right? Boom. Done. Oh, maybe this shadow from the tire. But you get what I'm saying. I don't know that there's a whole lot I need to do. I just really liked seeing the bunnies. I have a bunny. We have a bunny in our house. His name is Mr. Fluffy. But yeah, I don't know that I'm going to play with these a lot right this moment. Like I said, I'm going to save them. I might even do something with them down the line. But I'm really happy with these results I got on these other ones. Especially this one. This one I thought was going to be useless at first. I thought it's just washed out. But I thought, let's take a look at it and see what we can do. That's a picture that you really want to save is a good example of the ones I like to work on. Right? Pictures that already look amazing don't always need a lot, right? Like this one. I don't necessarily need to do a lot to this one. And even these ones, I kind of felt bad. Maybe I overdid it with the blue on this one, but the more I look at it, it didn't feel so hazy in the moment. It felt clear, sunny. It felt more like this. Maybe I did overdo it with a little bit with the blue, but sometimes that camera lens is a little tricky with the lighting, or maybe it was my settings in the camera. And it was a little hazy, a little overcasty, but that sun really was hot out that day. It was pretty bright. And even some of the other pictures I compared, I didn't pull them into Lightroom here, but even some of the other pictures, right, you can see like this unedited, it's not exactly dark out, right? It's pretty sunny. I just pulled them blues out a little more, that's all. Think I overdid it on them blues? Go ahead and let me know. There's no wrong answers on that. Right. But I'm probably gonna wrap it up right there. Call it a day. I got a lot of other pictures to look at. I got some 3D scans that I gotta work on here soon, and we'll talk about that real soon. Working on my bobblehead project. Maybe working on some bobbleheads for some other people here soon too, which is pretty exciting stuff. But as always, I appreciate you guys coming by and hanging out with me, checking out my video, checking out my vacation photos. You want to check out my Facebook or my Instagram, you can follow me over there. I'd appreciate it. Leave the links in the description. Otherwise, leave a comment, like, subscribe, the usual YouTuber stuff. But otherwise, I'll talk to you again real soon.